a master's degree in business administration. He holds a PhD degree under Faculty of Mechanical Engineering from College of Engineering, Guindy, Anna University, Chennai. In addition to teaching and research, he has served in various administrative roles for more than 2 decades. He was the convener of examination cell in Congo Engineering College. He has served as the head of department, mechanical engineering, academic coordinator, and vice principal in RMK Engineering College, Chennai. He also served as vice principal in RMD Engineering College. He assumed charge as principal of RMD Engineering College since November 2017. He was the chairman of Valuation Board in Anna University, Chennai, consequently for 4 terms. He had been a visiting faculty for Anna University, Chennai. He was a member of Board of Studies of Anna University, Chennai for curriculum and syllabi revision of Regulation 2008. He was also a member of Executive Committee for the Controller of Examinations of Anna University of Technology, Coimbatore. And presently, he is also a member of Board of Studies in 2 reputed institutions. He has received funds worth rupees 19 lakhs from the AICTE New Delhi for 2 projects under MODROP scheme. His research areas includes renewable energy and customer voice in product design and development. He has published 14 research papers in Web of Science and Scopus Index journals. He has led more than 30 UG and PG research projects. He has co-convened 3 international and 4 national conferences. He is a lifetime member of ISTE, Institution of Engineers, and also a member of All India Management Association and member of Society of Automotive Engineers. He also holds a Chartered Engineer certification from the Institution of Engineers, India. He has a passion to produce intellectuals with strong fundamental knowledge and creative thinking, which is the need of the hour today. He sets priorities in the context of stakeholder needs. He thrives to brand the ecosystem towards student-centric learning. His aspiration is to prepare the next generation engineers with various skill sets according to the needs of the industry. It's a great pleasure to invite such an eminent person. Welcome you, sir. Now I request Dr. N. Anbucharian, Principal, RMD Engineering College, to take over the session. Please, sir.
Most beloved participants from both external and internal, faculty members and members from industry, the program coordinator, Dr. Sobarani. Good afternoon to all of you. It's my immense pleasure to present some important points related to National Education Policy 2020. So as per the AICTE mandate, each and every faculty development program must have one session related to National Education Policy, which was implemented during the year, which was implemented during the year 2020. And now it's being implemented in many states. The first one is Karnataka state government. They are the first to introduce the national education policy from this academic year onwards. Since the education is coming under state government purview, that's why we have state government school education board as well as central government board like CBSE or ICSE, etc. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
CBSE, etc. But now, with the introduction of this new education policy, I think it may be moved to the central government category, so that one nation, one India, one education policy may be implemented. But with respect to the language which are going to be taught, particularly in South India, there are a lot of opposition is there with respect to three language formula. Even though it envisages some relaxations in the national education policy, it is up to the concerned state governments, whether it is Maharashtra or West Bengal or Tamil Nadu or other southern states or northeastern states. We have to wait and see how long it is, how best it is going to be implemented. So with this, I will start my presentation. Because it is a national education policy, it may be boring, particularly after the lunch break. In the afternoon session, any teacher can teach the class, but really sitting and listening to the class is very, very difficult in the afternoon session. I hope that some of the important highlights related to national education policy, some important aspects which I can be able to cover during this session, may be known to you to some extent and or may not be. To what extent it was brought, and what are all the backgrounds and all those things we will go through one by one. I will cover in these areas introduction to NEP, school education, higher education, other key areas of focus, and what are all the challenges in implementation. In all these areas, I will take up. And the first one is how it was introduced. Initially, the policy which we are having now, it is called a National Policy on Education, which was introduced during the year 1986. And that was modified during the year 1992 with slight modifications. It was modified. Since then, major changes have been observed in the world and in our country. For example, we have seen from the previous regulations to the regulation 2017 of Anna University, we saw the choice-based credit system. To what extent this choice-based credit system was successful and our education scenario changed, there is a big question mark. For example, as usual, we used to offer elective courses, and as usual, even the non-computer science, for example, ECE or EEE students, when they take elective, just for passing purpose, they will not choose database management systems. Instead, they will choose either professional ethics or total quality management or principles of management, etc., so that they can easily pass the subject. So without the background knowledge, the database management system, it's very difficult to get the placement in computer companies. The student knows, the faculty knows, the HOD knows, but to what extent it is being implemented, it's a big question mark. So in this national policy on education and 1986 and 1992, main focus in the national education policy was access to education and equity. It must be available to everybody. There should be some transparency, and availability should be there throughout India. This is what that policy was focusing. To some extent, we are able to come to this level. And present higher education system, major problems, if you take a severely fragmented higher educational ecosystem, we are giving less emphasis on the development of cognitive skills and the learning outcomes. Particularly when we go for accreditation, we are talking about outcome-based education. And both the NBA accreditation or NAC accreditation, it talks about outcome-based education, even in NIRF ranking, and the teaching learning process or outreach and inclusivity or the graduation outcome, we have to enter a lot of parameters related to outcome-based education. To what extent we are successful in this venture with the present education system, there is a big question mark because the world has changed. Each and every university abroad, they have changed the new pattern of education system. Still, from 1986 onwards, we are following the same old method. So there is a need for changing the present system to the new education system, so that the government formed a committee that was named as Kasturi Rangan Committee. That committee presented the new education policy. And after a lot of revisions and other suggestions, etc., after incorporating all those things, the National Education Policy 2020, after 34 years, it was implemented by the Cabinet, Union Cabinet of India on July 29th, 2020. And its main focus is quality education. And not only quality education to all the people. It is a right for each and every citizen of India to have quality education, and for which the affordability and other things will be taken care of by the governments, both state government as well as central government. This is what the education policy states. And but very important focus, main focus is quality education. And the global education development agenda, that is, this is based on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. That goal number 4 states that quality education, it should be met in the year of 2030. This is what United Nations, they have signed an agreement. And this is the agenda for sustainable development adopted by India in 2015, seeks to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Teachers, we have to note this important aspect. It is promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. That's why they have brought in a system called Academic Credit Bank. And these are all the 17 SDGs based on which this national education policy is framed. Even for your student projects or your research projects or your research papers or your patents, you can take this as a reference, starting from no poverty in the world to partnerships for the goals or responsible consumption and production. You can produce any product, but it must be a responsible one. It should help the human being. So like this, each and every goal is having certain important aspects, and whether it belongs to climate action or life below water or life on land or above this climate action, and affordable and clean energy in order to have less pollution, decent work and economic growth in any country. So these are all the important goals based on which you can have a very good project, initiate very good thoughts or idea, so that it can be converted as a research paper or patent. And student projects you can give. For example, clean water and sanitation. A number of projects are available. Similarly, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. You can think in the same way. So this new education policy emphasizes these 17 SDGs. Now these AICTE and UGC and the central government, they are very particular about these 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, while implementing this new education policy, national education policy. And the policy, it's a comprehensive framework for elementary education to higher education. both nursery education or elementary education to higher education, as well as vocational training in both rural and urban India. And apart from this, the policy aims to transform India's education system by 2040. It is a plan for the government of India. And this vision of NEP 2020 is an education system that contributes to an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all. It should develop a deep sense of respect towards the fundamental rights, duties, and constitutional values, bonding with one's country and a conscious awareness of one's role and responsibilities in a changing world. This is the vision of NEP 2020, instills skills, values, and dispositions that support a responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development and living, and global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizen. And our national education policy states that we should become a global knowledge superpower. This is what this National Education Policy 2020 states. And the key principles of this national education policy is emphasize conceptual understanding. Because the basic concept in each and every subject, the understanding of this particular concept, whether our students are understanding the concept or not, that we have seen practically. When we were in the lockdown during Corona period, we were in the online teaching mode. And in the online teaching mode, after online teaching during this semester for some period of time, we came here and we conducted the internal assessment test. And in our college, we are able to practically see the students did not learn anything during online classes. That means it is emphasizing the conceptual understanding is not clear as far as online education is concerned. That's why people are emphasizing blended learning now, both online as well as physical learning, because you cannot replace a board and chalk method, or you cannot replace a blackboard. This is what people used to say. And the unique capabilities, that is recognizing, identifying them in each student for students' holistic development in both academic and non-academic spheres. And it has to instill the critical thinking and the creativity, continuous review based on sustained research and regular assessment by educational experts. And for this sustained research and regular assessment, when we talk, it starts from learning and planning and executing for learning and assessment, and what is the outcome, and based on which what is the feedback that we are going to impart in our planning and implementation, and accordingly we have to teach, so that students will be in a position to learn. And respect for diversity and local context in all curriculum, pedagogy, and policy, always keeping in mind that education is a concurrent subject. And equity and inclusion as the cornerstone of all educational decisions to ensure that all students are able to thrive in the education system. That is very, very important and much emphasized in our national education policy, equity and inclusion. Community participation, encouragement and facilitation for philanthropic, private and community participation. Use of technology. This is very, very important. Use of technology. This is not only learning and removing language barriers for Divyang students, that is physically handicapped students, and in educational planning and management. Not only in this, how to teach and what are all the technologies that we are going to adopt as a teacher. in our methodology, it speaks about that also. And in short, the learning should be holistic, integrated, inclusive, enjoyable, engaging, inquiry-based, discussion-based, discovery-based, and analysis-based. It's light one, but it is a wide, very tight regulation. This is what this NEP, National Education Policy, is. It's not a policy, it is a mission, and it should be achieved by 2040. And basically, when it comes to the basic education structure, exactly what this National Education Policy says, it is now we have 10+2 system, and this restructuring school curriculum and pedagogy from 10+2 to a new 5+3+3+4 design. This all of you may be knowing, a number of messages being circulated through WhatsApp. All of you may be knowing, but this 5 years, it is called foundation. And the foundational level, first 3 years are related to KG, Anganwadis. And this preschool, we name this first standard and the second standard as preschool. So 3 years in KG and 2 years, first standard and the second standard. And these first 2 years, they are mainly talking about this foundational literacy and numerical ability. And preference to mother tongue based learning up to this 5 years of teaching is emphasized in National Education Policy, even though it talks about a 3-language formula. And out of these 3 languages, 2 languages must be Indian languages and 1 may be from outside India. And primary schooling 3 years, that is 3rd standard to 5th standard, and middle schooling for another 3 years, 6th standard to 8th standard, and secondary schooling another 4 years, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is called secondary schooling. Now, this higher secondary, we say that it is a +2. Now, this higher secondary schooling is going to be for 4 years, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so from the basic education starts from, even though it is starting from after 3 years, and the education first standard to 10th standard, it starts from 7th age. After completion of 6 years, it starts, and 7 to 16 for about 10 years, we are studying this first standard to 10th standard. Then afterwards, these 2 years, 17 and 18, we study this 11th and 12th. So it is a 5, 3+2, that is a foundational one, and 3 preparatory one, and the next 3, that is from class 6 to 8, it is a middle level, and the secondary, it is from 9th to 12th. This is what the new education policy structure says. And when we take about this school education, early childhood care and education, it is called as, simply called as ECCE. For this ECCE program alone, that is Foundation of Learning, Foundational Literacy and Numeracy, it is an urgent and necessary prerequisite to learning. And this ECCE teachers will be identified and trained. Those who have completed a +2, they can act as a teacher. They should be trained, and they are eligible to teach this ECCE, Early Childhood Care and Education, first 5 years. And this first semester, first standard and the second standard talks about literacy and numeracy. And the another important point is curtailing dropout rates, because school dropouts after 2 years or 3 years, this percentage of dropouts is increasing, even though the governments are trying to reduce it, the dropout rates are increasing because of the poverty and other things. So we have to ensure that this dropout rates comes to 0%. So equity and equal education for all the citizens of India as per this new education policy 2020. And curriculum and pedagogy in schools, holistic development of learners, reduce curriculum content to enhance essential learning and critical thinking, experiential learning, and empower students through flexibility in course choices, multilingualism and the power of language, curricular integration and essential subjects, skills and capacities, national curriculum framework for school education. It is going to be formed, NCFSE. And similarly, national textbooks with local content and flavor, support for gifted students with special talents, setting up of state school standards authority, and setting up another agency which is already in place, that is National Testing Agency, to offer common entrance exam like NEET or JEE or admission to any higher educational system after this new education policy is implemented. If you want to get the admission into any higher education institution, you must come out successfully in NTA entrance examination after +2, after your 12th standard. And teachers, when we talk about teachers, how they are going to be recruited and deployed, service environment and culture for the teachers, continuous professional development, career management and progression, professional standards for teachers, special educators. And so when we talk about all those things, there should be a holistic approach to teacher education. So this national education policy talks about the education for the teacher also, teacher education. So there is a B.Ed course, MPhil is dropped. There will not be no more. There is no more MPhil course, that is being dropped. And we are going to have only B.Ed. B.Ed also, it may be a 1 year course or 2 years course or 3 years course or 4 years course, based on the qualification, basic qualification of the particular person who is taking up the B.Ed course. And equitable and inclusive education, learning for all, efficient resourcing and effective governance through school complexes, clusters, standard setting and accreditation for school education. The school level accreditation is going to happen. And this policy envisions a complete overhaul and re-energizing the higher education system. Higher education must form the basis for knowledge creation and innovation, thereby contributing to a growing national economy. See, for any country, if we want that, if the government wants that the economy should grow, then there is an economy should grow, then the production must be higher, our exports must be higher, and imports must be less. Then only our economy will grow. So if you want that your products are being exported to other countries and you are reducing the import, then automatically this knowledge creation and innovation speaks. Innovation leads to the new products, and these new products should be commercialized, and these commercialized products should reach the ordinary human beings, so that if this product or service is good, it will be welcomed by the society, not only in our country, and we should be in a position to export our knowledge and our product or service, so that our export will grow and our economy will grow. That's why we have to reduce our import. And when we talk about higher education, quality universities and colleges, this is what the policy says. A new and forward-looking vision for India's higher education system. Institutional restructuring and consolidation towards a more holistic and multidisciplinary education. Undergraduate degree structure from 3 or 4 years to multiple entry and exit options. For example, after 12th, if a student enters into the higher educational institution, even after 1 year, he can get dropped out, for which after completing 1 year, he will get the certificates. And similarly, after 2 years, he will get the diploma. So like this policy has more flexible options, multiple entry and multiple exit options. And the credits will be accumulated. And where it will be accumulated, it will be digitalized. You will have a own username and password, unique number. And you will have your own academic bank of credits. And each student from their academic bank of credits, you can earn credits, and based on which you can earn a certificate or a diploma or degree or master's degree. So for which the education policy says that credits will be accumulated. 1 credit is equal to 1 theory hour or 2 practical hours. And here comes the important thing. If a student joins inside the college, after 1 year of completion, he can get the course certificate and he can go out. After 2 years of completion, he can get the diploma certificate, and if he wants, he can go out, work for some years. Then after that, if he wants, he can join again in the 3rd year, not in the same college, anywhere. And after 3 years completion, he will get the bachelor's degree certificate. 4 years completion, bachelor degree along with research certificate. So higher education institution have an option of offering 1 year master degree program. If a bachelor degree certificate is obtained with 3 years, 2 years masters is essential. If you are able to complete your bachelor degree in 4 years, 1 year master degree is essential. That 1 year talks about only research. And this MPhil program is discontinued. No hard separation between arts and science, curricular and extracurricular activities, vocational or academic streams, etc. There is no separation, no hard separation. It is a flexible learning. Whatever the student wants, he is having the option to choose the subjects. So optimal learning environment and support for students. Completely, it is going to be internationalized. Student activity and participation is very much emphasized here. And the financial support for students will be there from the central and the state governments. And with respect to teacher education is playing a major vital role in creating a pool of motivated, energized, and capable school teachers that will shape the next generation. Shaping the next generation is very, very important, because youth power is very, very important for the growth of the country. So teacher preparation is an activity that requires multidisciplinary perspective and knowledge, formation of dispositions and values, and the development of practice under the best mentors. So teachers must be grounded in Indian values, languages, knowledge, ethos, and the traditions, including tribal traditions, while also being well versed in the latest advances in education and pedagogy, latest technologies also. The 4-year integrated B.Ed offered by such multidisciplinary higher education institutes will by 2030 become the minimum mid-degree qualification for school teachers. This 4-year integrated B.Ed degree. This 4-year B.Ed degree will be a dual major holistic bachelor's degree in education, as well as a specialized subjects such as language or history or music, mathematics, engineering, computer science, chemistry, economics, art, physical education, etc. The teacher education will include grounding in sociology, history, science, psychology, early childhood care and education, foundational literacy and numeracy, knowledge of India and its values, ethos, art, traditions, and more. The higher education institution offering the 4-year integrated B.Ed may also run a 2-year B.Ed for the students who have already received a bachelor's degree in a specialized subject. This is what I told in the beginning. A 1-year B.Ed may also be offered for candidates who have received a 4-year undergraduate degree in a specialized subject. So after 4 years of undergraduate degree, if you study for 1 year related to education, you will be given a 1-year B.Ed and you are authorized to teach in a particular school or for higher education. Scholarships for meritorious students will be established for the purpose of attracting outstanding candidates to the 4-year, 2-year, and 1-year B.Ed programs. Reimagining vocational education totally. And similarly, catalyzing quality academic research in all fields through a new National Research Foundation, NRF. It is going to be created. Currently, 3% of GDP for education. It is being allotted in the budget, 3%. Now, the policy says that the center and the states will work together to increase the public investment in education sector to reach 6% of GDP at the earliest, as early as possible, from 3% GDP to 6% allocation for education sector, governments are going to allocate. Transforming the regulatory system of higher education, effective governance and leadership for higher education institutions. And this is about higher education. And other key areas of focus, professional education, and education in the ethic and the importance of public purpose, an education in the discipline, and an education for practice. That is a professional education. Multidisciplinary institutions offering holistic and multidisciplinary education. Agricultural education with allied disciplines will be revived. Technical education includes degree and diploma programs in engineering, technology, management, architecture, town planning, pharmacy, hotel management, catering technology, etc., which are all critical to India's overall development. Similarly, adult education and lifelong learning, even after getting a master's or PhD, this lifelong learning is very, very important for any human being, particularly for the teachers. And this kind of adult education, how this policy is going to focus, this is what it discusses here. People will be made literate and study the key areas according to their profession. The opportunity to attain foundational literacy, obtain an education, and pursue a livelihood must be viewed as basic rights of every citizen. Strong and innovative government initiatives for adult education, in particular, to facilitate community involvement and the smooth and beneficial integration of technology. Online and digital education. Online teaching platforms and tools our government is emphasizing. Content creation, digital repository and dissemination, virtual lab. Already we know that it is in place and it is being developed. And technology use and integration, an autonomous body, the National Educational Technology Forum, NETF, will be created to provide a platform for the free exchange of ideas on the use of technology to enhance learning, assessment, planning, administration, and so on, both for school and higher education. Promotion of Indian languages, arts, and culture. Cultural awareness and expression are among the major competencies considered important to develop in children in order to provide them with a sense of identity, belonging, as well as an appreciation of other cultures and identities. In short, our cultural values must be preserved. This is what this policy says. A greater emphasis on music, arts, and crafts throughout all levels of school. Early implementation of the three-language formula to promote multilingualism, teaching in the home local language wherever possible. The draft policy is silent on the institutions of eminence and agencies like the Higher Education Funding Agency. These are all the challenges in implementing. Language issues have to be handled sensitively, given their emotional overtones, as witnessed recently by the protests. This is what I told in the beginning, this three-language formula and other things. And thank you very much for your patience. And the forum is open for any questions related to this. Thanks for the opportunity.
Sir, am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Thank you, participants. If any queries or maybe any clarifications, if you wanted to have it, you can ask sir. Or otherwise, because it is a national education policy, sir wanted to finish it off within 1 hour. We are going to end this session today. And then attendance and as well as the feedback will be posted in the chat box as well as in the WhatsApp. I will take this opportunity to thank my principal and say vote of thanks. I would like to thank our speaker, Dr. N. Anbuchelian, principal of RMD Engineering College, for enlightened us with his knowledge and experience about the National Education Policy 2020 in his very busy schedule. We are glad to have you, sir, as our guest speaker. Thank you so much for accepting our request and delivered the speech. Today's session was informative, though you told that it is a non-technical, but along with the technical, we should have all the non-technical ideas. Then only the thing will go, and gave us a deep insights into the topic of NDP 2020. I once again thank on behalf of the management, principal, HOD and CSE faculty members, and as well as from all our interesting participants for presenting the wonderful session. Thank you very much, sir. Have a nice day. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
so much.
all. Thank you.